Fans blamed Scientology for Nicole Kidman's divorce from Tom Cruise in 2001, but very little was known about the split. That is until former Scientologists revealed the awful details about the couple's final days. From the moment she appeared on screen, audiences have been captivated by Nicole Kidman. Surprisingly, the Australian actress was actually born in Honolulu, Hawaii in 1967. At the time, her parents were in the US because her father was studying there. When she was 4, the family moved back to Sydney, Australia, the city where Kidman would spend her formative years. When she was a teen attending high school, she was already going out for auditions for local TV and film productions. She often spotted one of her classmates there, and they became fast friends, a girl named Naomi Watts. The two have remained close friends ever since. While it's easy to see now that Nicole Kidman was destined for greatness, her path to fame began with a massive gamble. As a teenager, Kidman made a bold and risky move when she dropped out of high school to chase her acting dreams. Incredibly, it worked. By 16, she was already landing roles and seemed unstoppable. But just as her career began to take off, everything came to a sudden halt, and the reason why was utterly heartbreaking. In 1984, tragedy struck the Kidman family. Nicole's mother, Janelle, was diagnosed with breast cancer, throwing their lives into turmoil. Without hesitation, Kidman stepped away from acting to be by her mother's side. Determined to help in any way she could, she even studied massage therapy so she could personally care for her mother during treatment. Thankfully, Janelle pulled through, and once her mother recovered, Kidman returned to the screen stronger than ever. By the late 1980s, Kidman's talent was impossible to ignore. She began earning critical praise for her performances in Australian films, especially the tense psychological thriller Dead Calm. The movie didn't just impress critics, it caught the attention of one very famous Hollywood actor, Tom Cruise. After seeing her in Dead Calm, Cruise knew exactly who he wanted as his co-star in his next film, Days of Thunder. It was a role that would change Kidman's life forever in more ways than one. When Kidman arrived to audition for Days of Thunder, Cruise pulled up to meet her in a Porsche. It sounded like the start of a movie, and in a way, it was. Kidman later confessed that she fell for the Hollywood superstar instantly. Their chemistry was undeniable, and their romance quickly took over her life. But there was just one problem. When they met, Cruise was still married to actress Mimi Rogers, and there were rumors that his romance with Kidman began before he was separated from his wife. Cruise eventually divorced Rogers, and less than a year after the divorce was final, Kidman and Cruise married. She was just 22 years old. For Kidman, the relationship was like a fairy tale, and she was completely in love. But Cruise brought some baggage from his first marriage. While they were married, Mimi Rogers had introduced Tom Cruise to Scientology, and he became active in the organization. It's reported that Scientologists identified Kidman as a potential source of trouble, since her father was a psychologist, and Scientology had long denounced both psychology and psychiatry. The pair married anyway, and Cruise became less involved with the church, at least at first. Naturally, in Hollywood, image is very important. Kidman was already 5'9" at just 13 years old, and eventually grew to 5'10", making her 4 inches taller than Cruise. Throughout their entire marriage, she never wore heels on the red carpet to make their height difference less noticeable. Despite their differences in height and background, Cruise and Kidman shared a fearless streak. Cruise was a notorious daredevil, performing nearly all of his own stunts in the Mission Impossible series. Kidman matched him in courage, taking on some very dangerous feats, including jumping out of a plane, racing around a track at 200 miles per hour and scuba diving with sharks. Thanks to Kidman and Cruise, Days of Thunder was a major hit. The couple went on to star together in the sweeping epic Far and Away, but that wasn't the only thing they were working on. They decided to adopt a baby girl, Isabella Jane, in 1992. A few years later, in 1995, they adopted a baby boy named Connor Anthony. Their family finally felt complete. But sadly, it wouldn't last. Cruise was already one of the biggest stars in Hollywood, but Kidman had yet to truly break through as a movie star. That changed when she was cast in Batman Forever in 1995. Her appearance in the blockbuster cemented her as an A-lister, but Kidman was hungry for more. That same year, she landed a role that seemed written just for her. In the novel To Die For, the main character states that if her life were ever made into a movie, she would want to be played by that actress that just got married to Tom Cruise. When the book was being adapted into a film, Kidman knew what she had to do. Determined, she tracked down director Gus Van Sant's home phone number and called him directly. Once she got him on the line, she spent 40 minutes convincing him to cast her. Her persistence worked. A few hours later, Van Sant called back to tell her she got the part. The film was a hit, and Kidman's performance earned widespread acclaim. She received a BAFTA nomination and won a Golden Globe for Best Actress. But when the Oscar nominations were announced, her name was nowhere to be found. It was a crushing blow. But there was a silver lining. Soon after, Kidman received a mysterious note. It contained 3 words: "You were robbed." The author of the note was none other than Sean Penn. Kidman later said that hearing praise like that from such an accomplished actor felt just as thrilling as an Oscar nomination. It was a moment she would never forget. When Kidman was a teenager, director Jane Campion saw her in a play. 15 years later, Campion cast Kidman in her adaptation of the Henry James novel The Portrait of a Lady. The production, however, would prove to be punishing. To portray Isabel Archer, Kidman had to dress like a 19th century lady every day on set. That included a corset that squeezed her waist down to just 19 inches. She threw herself into the role, but the work was grueling and not without consequences. Nicole Kidman was still a relatively new mother. She'd also filmed Batman Forever, To Die For, and The Portrait of a Lady almost back to back. Finally, it all caught up with her. After finishing The Portrait of a Lady, Kidman was so exhausted that she had to spend 2 weeks in bed. Doctors diagnosed her with emotional stress. After some much-needed rest, Kidman starred in The Peacemaker with George Clooney. The pair got along famously and would even go out dancing together. Clooney reportedly respected Kidman's acting chops so much that he never pulled one of his infamous pranks on her on set. After The Peacemaker, Kidman appeared in the cult classic Practical Magic alongside Sandra Bullock. Bullock later revealed that in the famous scene where she, Kidman, and the ants drink margaritas, they actually did have a few too many. Director Griffin Dunn remarked that during the filming of Practical Magic, Nicole Kidman often needed more takes to complete her scenes than her co-stars did. He'd attributed this to the last film she'd worked on with acclaimed director Stanley Kubrick. The movie, although completed, wouldn't be released for 2 more years. The film was Eyes Wide Shut. Stanley Kubrick told Kidman and Cruise that he wanted them to play the leads in his next film. He also added that they couldn't sign up for another movie until it was completed. Regardless, they both jumped at the chance to work with the acclaimed director. They had no idea what they were getting themselves into. The film began production in November 1996 and was finally completed in June 1998. Kubrick often demanded up to 70 or 80 takes from Kidman per scene. 10 takes or less is what most directors ask for. Principal photography took so long that it actually appears in the Guinness Book of Records as the longest constant movie shoot in history, lasting around 400 days. Unsurprisingly, the production took over Kidman and Cruise's lives completely. Even when they were finally done with the shoot, the battle wasn't over. The film was riddled with conflicts, particularly between the studio and director over a notorious sequence involving a secret society's soiree. Allegedly, there was also tension between the two married co-stars. The tabloids reported that an intimacy coach had been brought in to help Cruise and Kidman to make their romantic scenes more believable. Whispers about Cruise's love life had followed him for years. They started during his first marriage to Mimi Rogers and continued throughout his relationship with Kidman. Eventually, the speculation reached a breaking point. Cruise decided to fight back, filing libel lawsuits against the Star and Express newspapers in an attempt to silence the rumors once and for all. The couple won undisclosed sums in both lawsuits that they later donated to charity. After so much work on Eyes Wide Shut, the film's release should have been a dream come true. Unfortunately, the movie was something of a flop, although critical reevaluation has led to acclaim since its release. Kidman and Cruise had plenty to celebrate the release of their new film and their 10-year wedding anniversary. Reports claimed that the couple marked the occasion by renewing their vows on Christmas Eve 2000. But less than 2 months later, they made an announcement that sent shockwaves through Hollywood. After a decade together, Cruise and Kidman were separating. Almost immediately, the old rumors came rushing back, along with a new one. Tabloids alleged that Kidman had been unfaithful, while Cruise remained silent, allowing the gossip to continue. When he finally spoke about the split, his words only fueled more speculation. He simply said, "Nicole knows why." Just 2 days after announcing the separation, Tom Cruise filed for divorce from Nicole Kidman, citing irreconcilable differences. Kidman was devastated and overwhelmed. She hadn't expected Cruise to divorce her so suddenly. While he continued to work and make appearances, she canceled photo shoots and pulled out of films. Soon, dark details about their final days together began to emerge. While reports said the couple spent their 10th anniversary together, Cruise later claimed they had already separated by then. He had a good reason for saying so. In California, if a marriage without a prenuptial agreement lasts longer than 10 years, divorce settlements can change significantly. By insisting they split before that milestone, Cruise could avoid paying Kidman alimony. Kidman, meanwhile, stayed quiet about the breakup to protect their children, Isabella and Connor. With support from close friends Naomi Watts and Hugh Jackman, she slowly began rebuilding her life. Still, she couldn't escape the constant attention from the tabloids. When Kidman began to make the film Cold Mountain, rumors spread that she'd had an affair with co-star Jude Law, who was married at the time. Kidman sued the Daily Mail for libel when they printed the allegations, and eventually won her case, once again donating the money she'd received to charity. In August of 2001, Cruise and Kidman's divorce was finalized. Both claimed that they remained friendly for the sake of their children. It was a devastating time for Kidman, but it was also liberating. In the wake of the Me Too movement, Nicole Kidman revealed that she had been largely shielded from the harassment that many other actresses endured while coming up in Hollywood. She credited this to her marriage to Tom Cruise, who protected her. Kidman admitted that after their divorce, she had to navigate the business in new ways without Cruise. It was a period that forced her to grow up quickly and stand on her own. After the divorce, Kidman threw herself in her work, and it paid off. She earned her first Academy Award nomination for Moulin Rouge, and to say she worked hard for it would be an understatement. During the shoot, she broke 2 ribs and injured her knee during a dance number, which meant she had to film some scenes from a wheelchair. She followed that success with the haunting thriller The Others and the acclaimed drama The Hours, where she completely transformed herself with the help of a now infamous prosthetic nose. The disguise even proved useful offset, as paparazzi often failed to recognize her when she wore it. For The Hours, Kidman won her first Oscar for Best Actress, marking a major turning point in her life and career. During this time, Kidman was linked to several men, including Hollywood producer Steve Bing and musician Lenny Kravitz. She later admitted she had been secretly engaged during that time, most likely to Kravitz, but the relationship did not last. Everything changed when she met country singer Keith Urban. The couple married in Sydney in 2006. However, their newlywed bliss was short-lived. Only a few months after the wedding, Urban revealed that he was struggling with addiction. It was a painful and difficult time for both of them. Kidman allegedly staged an intervention for her new husband. He listened and immediately checked into rehab. Urban has reportedly been sober ever since. Kidman gave birth to her daughter, Sunday Rose, in 2008, and 2 years later, the couple welcomed another child, this time with the help of a surrogate. They named her Faith Margaret. There is one notable similarity between Kidman's marriage to Cruise and her marriage to Urban. When she married Cruise, they promised never to spend more than a couple of weeks apart. Kidman followed the same principle in her marriage to Urban, seeing it as an essential part of maintaining their connection. In 2017, Kidman made headlines again when she was photographed kissing a man at the Emmys. That man was not Keith Urban, but her Big Little Lies co-star Alexander Skarsgård. The kiss happened immediately after Skarsgård won an Emmy, with Urban standing nearby. Some people found it unusual that she congratulated him with a full-on kiss. When asked about the incident on The Graham Norton Show, Kidman explained, "I kissed my husband too." She went on to reassure everyone, "I have an amazing, supportive, gorgeous husband who I love more than anything in the world." In the months and years following Kidman and Cruise's divorce, tabloids often blamed Scientology for the breakup. Their marriage had a rocky start, partly due to Kidman's psychologist father and her unease with the religion. As Kidman and Cruise continued to spend most of their time together, keeping their promise to stay close, Scientology leaders became frustrated that their influence over Cruise was slipping. David Miscavige hired Marty Rathbun, then a senior exec at the Church of Scientology, to keep an eye on the situation. In turn, Rathbun hired notorious private investigator Anthony Pellicano to spy on Nicole and tap her phone. After Rathbun left the church, he revealed that Kidman's phone had been tapped without her knowledge, and when Cruise filed the divorce papers, Miscavige was allegedly thrilled that Kidman, who he thought had been dragging Cruise away from the organization, was gone. Kidman's adopted children with Cruise, Connor and Isabella, are both very active Scientologists. In recent years, sad rumors have surfaced about their relationship. Her children have allegedly branded Kidman a suppressive person following her divorce from Cruise. She hasn't been seen in public with either of them for years, leading many to believe they are estranged. Kidman has defended her children, saying that they're adults and that they're allowed to make their own decisions. Kidman has recently faced another heartbreak. In 2025, she filed for divorce from Keith Urban, citing irreconcilable differences. Despite the end of their marriage, Kidman remains focused on her family and her career, determined as ever to move forward with the same strength and grace that she has become known for. If you enjoyed this Factinate video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more incredible stories. Want to say in who we cover next? Join our membership program through the link in the description for exclusive perks. Your support means everything to us. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.